So it is 10 o'clock Central. Not sure where everybody's calling in from. So good day to you, whatever time it is. I'm Emily, and our leader today is also Emily. So you can easily remember that. Um, for my role in this, I will be watching the chat the whole time so that the other Emily doesn't need to. And then I'll either kind of respond in the chat if it's a quick question, or we can kind of save them for a good like stopping point. So I'm really excited to be able to introduce Emily. I have her bio right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and read that to you. And then once I'm done, Emily, you can go ahead and get started. All right. So
thank you, Emily. Appreciate it.
of course. So Emily Rubin, pronouns she, her, is the author of the novel Stalina, a selection in the Amazon Debut Novel Award Contest. Emily's short stories, essays, and poetry have been published in the journals Confrontations, Red Rock Review, Ghost City Review, Oldster Magazine, Poets and Writers, among others. She has founded the Write Treatment Workshops, with write spelled like writing something, creative writing workshops offered to the cancer community in New York City and upstate New York. She founded Loads of Prose, a reading series that takes place in laundromats around the country. Emily was the first recipient of the Sarah Verdone Writers Award in 2011, a finalist in the International Literary Awards, and a Pushcart Prize nominee. She has received grants and fellowships from the New York State Council on the Arts, the Berkshire Taconic Foundation, Heidi Powell Fund, Marissa Costello Foundation, Malay Colony, Poets and Writers, Lower Manhattan Cultural Council, and the New York Foundation for the Arts. Emily has a BA from Bard College, where she majored in dance and theater, and an MFA in creative writing from the Writers Foundry at St. Joseph's University. She lives, writes, and teaches from her home in Columbia County, New York.
Great. That about says it all. Welcome, everybody. And yeah, so you can see from my bio, I'm primarily, I spend my time writing and teaching and writing. And I was really thrilled to be asked to be part of this light festival about safe places and healthy places. And I find that through writing, either alone or in groups, is something that I feel gives people solace. It can be at times therapeutic. It can also be artful and literary. And I primarily now run my Right Treatment workshops for cancer centers in several hospitals, in several institutions in upstate New York, as mentioned. And for this workshop today, I thought I'd read a couple of quotes. I have a poem also that I want to share. And then I have several short writing exercises that I wanted to do with you, just a couple of minutes, just to bring to this space our writing time together, and to discover how, with even just a short amount of time, there you can express yourself from what's on your mind and get it to the page or to the computer. So I'm going to start with a quote. One of the, as part of the writing workshops that I teach, the Right Treatment workshops, we've published 2 anthologies of writings from people from those workshops. And those workshops I started in 2011. And that was after I finished treatment for breast cancer. And so my idea in starting the workshops came after I finished treatment. I had or during treatment, I had pretty much put my writing practice to the side to deal with the rigors and of treatment, and also the insurance companies and just everything that you end up doing. And the place where I was treated, Mount Sinai, had no writing workshop. And so after I was done with treatment, one of the things I did was that I sent out that novel Stalina that was mentioned earlier. And I had written it before I'd had cancer, before I was diagnosed. And then it was sitting in the drawer after I was done. And I pulled it out and I sent it out, and it's when it was published. So I felt like the universe had kind of given back to me and that my writing life was in gear. And there I was, ready to give back to that place that had helped me so profoundly through that treatment. And so I went to Mount Sinai and to the social work staff there, and I said, I would like to start a workshop. They said, that's great, we'll give you a room. And that was in 2011. The workshops have been going ever since, and there have been thousands of people have worked, and we published these 2 anthologies. And I'm just going to read a quote from the beginning of this second anthology, and it's by a poet and writing teacher, Pat Schneider. And she writes, "We are all connected to one another and to the mystery at the heart of the universe through our strange and marvelous ability to create words. When we write, we create, and we offer our creation to one another. We close the wound of loneliness and may participate in healing the broken world." And so I read that inspired by the previous session of the cancer issue and prompts that were set out in the poems and the stories that were written, and by Valerie, I see, who's here, and others who are here who participated in that. And so about finding ways to heal ourselves, in hopefully that will help also heal the world. So finding a healthy place is something that when Alexis asked me to participate and do this workshop, she also asked me to write an essay about a healthy place. And I thought very much about writing about how I create a workshop that is a healthy place for people who are experiencing cancer, whether they're survivors or caregivers or patients going through treatment. And I used to teach those workshops in person before the pandemic. And we would sit around a table and I would give a prompt and we'd all write together for up to a half an hour or sometimes more. And then everyone would read what they wrote. And then that shifted, and how I had to think about how to maintain that. It all had to shift to Zoom because none of the hospitals would have any kind of support that wasn't medical within the hospital. So I moved everything to Zoom, and it has maintained that. And how to create a healthy place on Zoom was the next challenge, which as the doctor said in the opening, it's so great that we have this technology that we can share. And I have people I have a woman in Ireland who comes in every week to join me in the workshop. I have people in Colorado. I'm based in New York, upstate New York. And so, we're able to gather there. But I thought in doing it on Zoom, I end up sending the writing prompts to the group, to everyone that signed up. And it's now I have an email list of about 100 people. So about 100 people get that prompt every week before the workshop. And I ask that they write before and come to the workshop and then read. And so that gives people the chance to mull over the prompt, write something before they come. And so that's how I structure the workshop. But I also miss the impromptu thing of just having a writing prompt and writing from it spontaneously. And so in the last year, I've started a surprise prompt Monday workshop a couple of times a month where people can join in it, and I share a prompt on the screen and we all write from that for a few minutes and then share. And all these workshops are not more than an hour long. Maybe we go over a little bit if there are a lot of people, but that's about it. So that's how I've structured that. But in the essay that I wrote for Alexis, I wrote about making a writing studio, creating a writing studio. And I sit here in this studio. I'll give you just a quick little tour of it. And I wrote about what it meant for me to create a place where I felt calm, where I felt I could access my inner passions, my inner thoughts, and write and teach. And so Alexis has that essay, and I hope that you take a moment to read it. It'll be posted on there. And it was just a wonderful act for me to write about what it meant for me to create a space where I felt I could connect with my muse. I could connect with creating a place where I felt there was beauty around me as well, and that a place of calm. And so I won't do anything more about that space because it's something that you can read that will be posted. But I wanted to now, as the doctor did in the opening session, I have a poem that I'd like to read that then will lead us into a writing prompt that I will give you. I won't post it on the thing, but I'll talk you through it. So this is a poem called In Perpetual Spring by Amy Gerstler. Gardens are also good places to sulk. You pass beds of spiky voodoo lilies and trip over the roots of a sweet gum tree in search of medieval plants whose leaves, when they drop off, turn into birds if they fall on land, and colored carp if they plop into water. Suddenly, the archetypal human desire for peace with every other species wells up in you. The lion and the lamb cuddling up, the snake and the snail kissing. Even the prick of the thistle, queen of the weeds, revives in your secret belief in perpetual spring, your faith that for every hurt, there is a leaf to cure it. So there you have it. So I want you to think about, when I'm describing this prompt, and what I'm going to do is I'll read the prompt and I will time 1 minute for you to meditate on the prompt. And then I'll set my timer for 4 minutes for writing time. And then when time is, first we'll do 1 minute of meditation and then 4 minutes of writing. So that's how this next part of the workshop will work. And here's your prompt. And I'd like you to think about that last line of the poem. Revives your secret belief in perpetual spring, your faith that for every hurt, there is a leaf to cure it. And here's your prompt. I'd like you to write about a place that you go to that's a refuge, a place where maybe you have creative time, or you just step away from the rigors of home, of work, a place where you have time to think. And it can be a public place, Or it can even be your morning shower, your bathroom in the morning. Maybe it's a diner that you go to. Maybe it's the library, or maybe it's a path in a park that you go to, or maybe when you get into your car and driving to the store or driving to work, that's your place where you feel safe and where you feel like that you can be yourself. And so I also want you to think about that as a place where maybe you can dream and think about, as she suggests in the poem, a place where things that have a rift between them can come together, like that snake and snail kissing, or like that lion and lamb cuddling. So I'm going to set my clock for 1 minute. And so I want you to think about letting in your mind's eye. And maybe if you don't have that place in your life yet, or that you're seeking it, think about what it is of that place that would be that healthy, that safe place for you. What would it be like? And so in the minute that we'll meditate on that, try to think of how you might describe that place. And here for meditation begins. Please close your eyes if that feels safe for you. We go. Okay, so that's time on our meditation. And now, whatever writing device, if you have your pen and page or on your computer, I'd like us to take 4 minutes to do your best. Just let the pen roll and try to describe that place. Imagine that you're walking into it. What is it that you see? What is that you hear? What is that maybe you smell? What is that? Is there something even that you can feel as a taste, as a feeling on your skin? And 4 minutes will start now. There's about 30 seconds left. And there's time. Okay, thank you. I want you to just gaze at your page or your computer and see how much you were able to write in such a short amount of time. I had a mentor of mine, Chris Adrian, who's a writer and also a pediatric oncologist. And we used to do a writing exercise with him where he said, okay, 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, you can write a novel. So there's just, I love how, you know, the time, a little bit of constraint of time can show you how much you can write if you start. Part of my idea with the writing workshops is to work like we did in the yoga class, to work and stretch our muscles. And we do that with writing, and doing it together like this, I think, is like being in that yoga class together and working on that together. So now, because of the wonderfully expansive nature of this festival, and about place, it had me thinking so much about how place is created in art, whether it's in sculpture or in poetry, in paintings. And I have another book that I just highly suggest about place. It's called Place. And I can send Alexis, I can send you the link for it, or you can look it up, by two artists, Tacita Dean and Jeremy Millar. And I'm just going to read, I have another writing prompt that I want to do with you. But before we do that, I'm going to read you a quote that Alexis did post as part of my workshop. But I just want to read it to you in introduction to the next short writing prompt I'm going to do with you. And this is about how place has myth and history connected to it. Often our everyday, ordinary places have been witness to extraordinary events. These may be significant enough to have been recorded in the annals of history, or perhaps they are the less consequential, but no less significant. Moments of daily life, the memories of which have been passed down the generations. These are places traversed as much by stories as by footsteps. Sometimes they take their identity from their myths. At other times, the myths emerge from the place itself. At yet others, the place and its history are at odds with each other, although each helps create the other. So I love that because of this idea that places can have a myth, but there's different ways of interpreting what a place is and what you see in a place. So for this next short exercise, and it's kind of two parts, I want you, if you are in a room that has a window, I'd like you to get up and go to the window. And I hope you can still hear me. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, when you stand and you look out the window, if you're in a room that doesn't have a window, it has a door, I would expect. I'd like you to go and just stand with the door open if you're able to do that, or someplace else. Or if you have neither of those things, you don't want to open the door, change your position in the room that you're in. So any of those options are available to you. And what I'd like you to do is at this moment, get up. I'll get up with you. I'll change my access. And I have a window here, but I'll keep looking at all of you. And so what I'd like you to do, wherever it is that you're standing, I want you to open your eyes wide, as if you're letting more light into your eyes, and just scan the room or scan the outdoors. Okay, now close your eyes for 1, 2, 3 seconds. Open your eyes again. Now, looking out, I want you to take note of something that's out that window or in your room in a new direction that you're facing. Maybe it's a painting on the wall. Maybe it's a leaf blowing in the wind. Take note of that. Now close your eyes again. And with your eyes closed this time, move your eyes around from side to side, up and down. A little eye exercise to feel your eyes inside your head. And now open your eyes again and look again outside or in your room and notice something else. A teapot. And now once again, close your eyes. Take a breath this time. Take a deep breath. With your eyes closed. And open your eyes again, wider again, as if you're seeing this new place, as if it is telling you it's myth. Notice something new. And now return to your desk or your chair, wherever you might be. And I'd just like you to write down the 1, 2, and maybe 3 things that you observed. Just take 30 seconds to do that. Okay, great. If there those 3 things that you observed. Now for the next, let's see, I do have a little bit of time. I'm going to do one more writing prompt with you that's going to give us a way to combine the things that we've listened to and heard, or listened to, like that we've heard, whether the poem, maybe there's a sound in the room that you noticed, and try to combine them together to show that these things that we experience, even in this virtual way together, can start to become story. And so what I'd like you to do is, in your writing, you have your writing of the place that is safe that you go to. And so I'd like you to pull out a sentence from that, just one sentence. Maybe it's the first sentence, maybe it's the last sentence. And highlight that sentence. And then, and I'll guide you through this. Highlight that sentence. And now follow that with something that you observed. And now the next line, I'd like you to write this line from the poem. For every hurt, there is a leaf to cure it. For every hurt, there is a leaf to cure it. And now the next thing that I'd like you to write is take another sentence or phrase from your safe place. And then follow that with something else, one of the other things you observed. And now follow that with another line from the poem. Human desire for peace with every other species. Human desire for peace with every other species. And now you can put your pens down if that's there or stop typing there. And so look back over what you wrote. This is your a poem of the day, a constructed poem, a constructed story, using your thoughts about a safe place, using things that you observed, and using parts of this poem that I found to be inspiring for myself, and I hope it was inspiring for you. I would love to see, things that people wrote. I don't know if we have time for one or two people to share if they'd like to. Emily or Alexis, if you want to.
Yeah, I think we have like 10 or so minutes to go through Q&A as well.
Okay.
So I'm wondering maybe if there is somebody who really wants to share what they wrote, we could do that. But also if you have questions you want to ask as well, we can spend the next 10 minutes or so doing both, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess if somebody wants to share, maybe raise their hand or just jump in, right?
Yes, I'm just looking through to see if anybody has their hand raised. Not yet. Uh,
I'm happy to share. I did it
Oh,
with
that,
my kids, but they ran away when it was time to share, so they don't want to
oh,
share.
I'm
But
still here.
okay, you're still here. Do you want to
oh,
share?
good.
Not yet.
Not
I'm
yet.
not
Okay.
finished.
Do you want mommy to share, please?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, I'll share mine and maybe they'll share back later. This is Zoya, who is 8, and Zelly, who's 12.
Hi.
So mine is everyone is good. Ball on the grass still. For every hurt, there is a leaf to cure. The exact temperature I love. Christmas trees twisting. Human desire for peace with every other species.
Mhm. Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, we
So,
have 2 others. Tiffany, if you want to go.
Sure. So it starts, the river glistens below with the promise of passing along its secrets when the time has come. A fluffy cloud hangs above in a bright blue sky. For every hurt, there is a leaf to cure it. I am surrounded with the love of my ancestors. Their sadness that lingers in the air has been given permission to be released to God. Human desires for peace with every other species.
thank you, Tiffany. Profoundly beautiful.
Thank you.
Definitely. All right. I believe Valerie, you are also wanting to share.
Okay. I sat down on a wooden bench under a cathedral of trees, glowing green. For every hurt, there is a leaf to cure it. Damp corridors of mossy earth, yellow lilies in bloom. The human desire for peace with every other species.
Thank you, Val. Thank you, Valerie. That was beautiful. And I loved hearing your comments earlier in the about your connection to writing and your cancer journey. Much
Thank
appreciated.
you.
Thank you.
Love to talk more with you.
Yes, of course. Yes. I just have to give a shout out to someone from my workshop is here, Susan Knott. Hi, Susan. I told so Susan has recently started working with me in the right treatment workshops, and I invited them to come. So it's just nice to see her here.
Thank you.
That's great. All right. Tariana, and also if I'm mispronouncing your name, please teach us. You are muted. Maybe we can come back.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
I wonder if she can. I don't know if she wrote it on the computer. If you paste it into the chat, that's good. So that we can't. Well, if there's, maybe if there's one other person, and then if there are questions or discussion that people would like to have, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sure. They just get, we got a question from Dr. Juliet, and Dr. Idia has her hand up as well.
Okay, great. I just see that Tariana was able to put her writing into the chat. I'd be honored to read it so that everyone can hear, because I think that, for me, part of writing is listening, and that radical listening is our way of really learning about each other as well. And here's Tariana's: to get a glimpse of a world within, sounds of birds chirping, For every hurt, there is a leaf to cure it. It places you in a state of mind to heal. Sitting by the tree, human desire for peace with every other species. Thank you, Yana. That's beautiful.
Dr. Idia, do you want to ask your question quickly? And then we can read Dr. Juliet's.
Sure, Zoya just wanted to read her.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
All right, go ahead, baby.
The sun is shining, a purple wine glass. For every hurt, there is a leaf to cure it. The cup I got Mom for Xmas, human desire for peace with every other species.
Oh. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Really well done. I just
Thank you.
Thank you.
so happy to have you here.
And learning how to do poetry during summer break. That is, I love it.
What I did on summer vacation. Beautiful, beautiful.
Great job. The question from Dr. Juliet is, how do you overcome distractions with writing?
Oh, wonderful question. Let's see. I'll take a couple of different ways of looking at this. I have to say that sometimes distractions are writing. And so if you feel like, but let's see, I'm going to try to answer the question in maybe multiple ways, because I think distractions are very important for us to get a handle on and to understand what they are. And I know for myself, and I can, of course, primarily speak for myself, that I know that when I'm trying to focus and something's taking me away from writing and focusing, I see that as a time, well, maybe in my writing, I'm getting to something that is difficult or deeply troubling to me or emotionally connected, and that my distraction is taking me away from it, but it's also my signpost that something important is about to happen. And that by allowing the distraction to be something that I embrace for a moment and look at it as something that I'm going to give some love to, rather than look at it as something that is frustrating and taking me away, that it's giving me a moment to rest from the thing that I'm resisting going to, and that allow the distraction to happen. It could be just that something is demanding your attention, and that I try to look at it as being something that it's not frustrating, but that it's also part of my writing process, to allow that distraction to take its course, and that I will always return. And that when I return to what I was working on and distracted from, I return with a new sense and of understanding. And I've moved from 1 minute to the next. Like in the exercise where I ask you to close your eyes and open them again, that's how I look at a distraction. So rather embrace it rather than feeling like it's stopping you from doing something. And I think it was like yesterday, I listened to a couple of writers who I admire greatly, Elizabeth McCracken and Sarah Ora Mark. And one of the questions that the group asked, someone in the group that was, it was also on Zoom, asked is like, do you write every day? And Elizabeth McCracken, who's written 9 novels, she said, I don't, because when I do something else and not writing, it feeds my writing. And so I think that you have to look at any distractions as that. It's like, if you want to engage with writing, that what I find is that the joy of living in the world is that you become more aware and more sensitive, because it's all going to feed back to your writing time and your process. And so I think that maybe includes distractions. Long answer, but I hope that that helped.
That's very helpful to hear. Thank you. We did get another question. However, I know we're coming up right at our end of time. So if people do need to drop, we understand. But Ariel had a question about, how do you support participants in your workshops through writing prompts that bring up a lot of grief or other emotions from them? Sounds like there was an example where they were in a group once, and when they did the grounding visualization of a place that they felt safe in their body, some people could not think of one, and it was just very heavy feeling for them. So I am sure that that comes up a lot with you as well. So how do you kind of navigate that?
Got that. Fantastic question, and very important that we address, and I think that, like, that's what's so wonderful about this conference, is like that there's no, not addressing something is not what we're doing. Like we're bringing things up. And so, I'll give you an example of, I'll just say, here we are in a group and people have a broad range of experience, and that the act of writing is an act of empathy. And so that when you are in this group together, and why is writing an act of empathy? It's because when you're writing something, you are perhaps writing about someone, your own experience, and having empathy for your own experience. And if that is an experience that is filled with dread or fear or sadness, when we are able to do it within a group, there will be support from the others in that group to help you through that time. And that by your being courageous enough to share that difficult moment through your writing, that you are helping heal the other people in the group, because you're opening yourself up, and that by doing that, they will connect to those feelings in themselves, and that will understand others' experience, and that hopefully within the group there will be support. Usually, I know in our group, people often in the right treatment workshops, and certainly Susan Knott, who's here, has experienced this. We say, I know exactly how you feel, except from my own experience, this is what it was like for me. And so that by opening it up, you're allowing other people to share their experiences. And that is, as in the quote that I read of Pat Schneider's, that we're not alone, and that your experience is yours and yours alone, and it's yours to be embraced, but by sharing it, we will help you. You are helping the others in the group as well. So I hope that, gives some idea of it is. I mean, I think that specifically also, there are times when people are reading and it's very emotional for them. And so giving that time to get through a difficult moment in silence, but together in silence, I think it's also very powerful that we allow the person the time to collect themselves and to realize that they're not alone. And that by doing that, that there is a moment where perhaps there is some taking that moment that's difficult and putting it down on the page releases some of that pain for the person. And that by giving it to the group, that it can dissipate, but also be recognized as something that we move through and that we carry and that we process in many different ways.
Emily, thank you so much for all of this. I definitely was taking notes of some of the like really powerful things that you said, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So,
but Ariel, thank you. I was looking at the chat. Yeah, again, James Baldwin. Of course, his quotes that they said, "Suffering is a bridge." It's true. It's like, we make change, through experience and experiencing it together and sharing. I'm really delighted to have been able to work with everyone today.
Yeah, so on behalf of everybody, thank you so much, Emily. We really all appreciate it.
Okay, great. Keep in touch. I look forward to keeping in touch with everybody through Light. Wonderful organization. Thank you, Alexis and Emily, so much.
Of course. And we hope to see all of you on other sessions later today and into tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.
You.